Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 New Order Germany. Let us continue on from where we last left off. So, we are currently engaging in a little bit of Detente with the United States. We've kind of made it so, you know, Italy is no longer hating us, and I say that's a positive step. And if we can do the same thing with the United States, that would also be quite good. And then, of course, we're going to turn our attention to the Japanese. And let's just say our government's view of the Japanese is not extremely high. I think Japan's the only country we're not allowed to do a detente in. Detente? We're only allowed to be hostile towards them. So if we can be kind of friendly with Italy and the United States while kind of focusing in on the Japanese, seems like that could work. Especially me and America team up on Japan. America takes control of their two ports here and takes back Hawaii. I don't know. I don't even know what we really do other than just make their day a little bit worse. Okay, more divisions. We'll assign you into our new army here. I guess we can assign a general into this army as well. There we go. We'll throw you in here. Okay, apparently I screwed this up. Here we go. You go into this army. There we go. Sounds good. Sounds good. Ooh, Angolan Civil War. Do we have any interest in here? No, it's the Pan-Africanist versus the UNITA. Again, we're not really pro Pan-African. I know that seems crazy, but we're just not. Because who else is Pan-African? They have Nigeria, Ghana, and Guyana. I know a handful of these other states down in the south are also Pan-African. I don't know if they'll actually be able to join a faction or not, but it is something to kind of keep in the back of our mind as a possibility into the future. You're not loyal, so let's just boost you back up. Again, we have so much political power right now that I genuinely don't really know what to do with it. Okay, offer some concessions to the Americans. Reduce arms in Europe. We decrease conscription. Let's shift the window. Give me political power, which I literally just said I don't really need, but the Chilean government's collapsed. You know what? Let's just research things ahead of time. It's fine. So, Chile. Are you erupting into civil war? Or just that your government's collapsed? Right now, you're a junta. Is a junta... the junta is probably pro-American, right? Almost certainly. Do we have anybody in the Western Hemisphere that's pro-us? No, you're Argentinian. Peru is actually pro-Japanese, which is surprising to me. Also, you're no longer pro-Italian. Can I influence you? Is that a thing I should be trying to do here? I don't know if it actually is something I can do. Can't do anything with you. You have Japanese support. I mean, that seems pretty bad. Like, to me, it would either be in the Cold War interface, or it would be in spheres. Tensions are, you know, it decays annually, which I would say that sounds pretty good. Spheres, nuclear weapons. You have Burgundy now has 2,000 nukes, which does seem like it could potentially pose a problem for us. But I'm sure it's okay, right? I'm sure nothing bad is going to happen. Probably. Yeah, I'm going to say probably on that one. I do need an army against Kazakhstan as well. Because presumably Bukhara and Kazakhstan are going to join up. Pragmatic fascists have taken over the party. Okay. You are now a pact... You're now in my sphere of influence. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Okay, okay. So Colombia, who we were actually originally against this government, which is kind of hilarious. But they've now decided that Germany is the true nation that they should follow. And you know what? I completely agree with their assessment on the situation. They should follow me. They shouldn't follow the Italians. They shouldn't follow the Spanish. They shouldn't follow Japanese. They should follow me. Me and me alone. Okay, we have even more troops. Okay, let's assign you under a different commander here. I'm going to send you to the border of Armenia. I mean, that looks good to me. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm pretty happy where that's at. A pain, we know. Political power, plus 20, plus 20. Again, you have to do both. Cameroon is declared war on the Free French. The West African War. I mean, that's fine. Only liquidation of neocolonialism will unite the entire continent under one government. So you have declared war on you. So we got the West African Alliance, kind of, that's pro-French, I guess. Okay, so I mean, you're mostly just anti-socialist, more so than pro. What are these? What are these one? Member, Pan Liberation, Liberated Satellite, member, signatory, protectorate. Okay, so you're like a puppet state. Okay. Now, who do I think is going to win that fight? I'm not too sure, to be quite honest. I mean, Cameroon maybe. They have 12 divisions, which isn't a ton. But Free France does have more. England has defeated the Welsh. That is completely... I mean, I was going to say it's okay. I mean, they're kind of anti... Let's just say we were more pro-Welsh than we were pro-British. Okay, you're looking pretty good. Training progress new agent currently at 100%. I mean, that seems about as good as they can possibly get. Is there anything else we can do? You require flanker B camouflage. I think that's basically it. There's nothing else really in here we can do. We're just going to try to, you know, research more technology. Get our spies to be the best that they can possibly be. We're on 1970 tech here. Let's get that going as well. It will take 400 days. But I got 400 days, baby. Okay, Kriegsmarine. I'm going to boost you up by 2 points here. I don't know what the reformists think they're trying to do in my country. But whatever it is, it's clearly not going to work. I'm genuinely also wondering, are we building too many units? The answer may very well be yes. Very well might be yes. But that's okay. Okay, pain we know. Follow that up with a reducing arms in Europe. I'm being very, very nice to the Americans here. Well, like, what have the Americans done for us? So far, nothing. I've given them concessions. They haven't done anything for me. Okay, so this is going to begin the Stockholm Conference. Failed coup in Laos. We've still got the Viet Minh over here. Comrades of the North, victory in Laos Shan, 20 years of resistance. If the Viet Minh were to launch an insurrection in Vietnam, like, what? I guess we wouldn't. I mean, the Americans would probably support the Viet Minh. I don't believe... I mean, here's the thing, like, would we? I mean, they're communists. But they're also anti-Japanese. So it's a little hard to say. Well, we'd probably just stay neutral. Imperial coup in Manchuria. Somebody here has collapsed. Are you German? No, you're actually Pan-African as well. That is A-okay. Well, it's not A-okay. But you know what I mean. It's fine for what we're doing. Okay. Monarchy in Laos. We're getting so many... Shit's going down in Laos right now. It's going crazy over there. Voting System Act. So are they going to stop being socialist? The NDL are looking like they might end up winning the next election. Okay, reduce arms in Europe. Let us now do the fruits of diplomacy. America. I have offered myself. I've pulled back armed forces. I have, you know, banned... Well, not banned, but I've kind of limited a small amount of slaves. I've done a lot of good stuff here. Look, skilled workforce, it's fucking zooming up there. It's looking pretty good. We're happy with that. More cryptology. 1,200 days on you. Keep on boosting cryptology levels as much as we possibly can be. Now, I don't remember how long these actually last for. Socialist Gun of Ghana has defeated the Republic of Yorbaland. Okay. Crowds and media stood together as the Krakow train station at Germany-Krakow line at the Bruges Persian was inaugurated. Speaking to media outlets and journalists, officials thanked the workers who constructed the line and extolled the benefits that would come to the Reich being fully connected. They praised the foresight of the Führer for approving the project and promised that more lines will be built shortly. Germania's reach extends. Let's go. More railroads. We'd love to see it. So, I mean, Ghana and Nigeria are looking like they're doing pretty alright. I mean, really, they just gotta kill the Free French. If they can kill Free France, then Cameroon maybe there's a chance to unify all of Africa. Of course, we don't want that to happen. Bring these Navy, I don't even know why you're in the middle of Africa. Bring them up north, please. Let's send you over here to Armenia. New operative, let's go. Give me more operatives. Just, I don't see a reason not to have as many operatives as possible. Just give me as many. Get more and more. 2 more. We'll send you over here as well. Not that we're really going to go to war with Turkey. Not that we're going to go with Armenia. Well, you never know, right? In the back of your mind, you just got to always remember that, you know, they could do some. Maybe one day Armenia will invade the Caucasus. And that's something that we got to be prepared for. Now, you might be wondering, with what military will they possibly invade us with? That's how they get you. Okay, fruits of diplomacy. I guess we don't know if it's going to succeed or not. So let's do the bond forged in atomic fire, 14 days. While we're waiting for Stockholm to be finished, we will do our Japanese tree here. Stockholm Conference response. An necessarily faceted operations communication. The American translator announced in slightly accented German, speaking more to the room than to Bormann himself. If the Reich wishes to work with the United States, they must consent to the installation of a hotline between the Oval Office and Germania. This is a simple measure to create trust between our nations and allow a quick resolution to any incidents that may arise. A method that for our leaders to resolve such issues is critical for the expansion of relations. The Führer felt less sure of the benefits of such a plan. It's certainly possible that it would lead to resolution from some disputes, but he also knew it would lead to Americans making demands on him on a much more frequent basis. It was one thing for the United States to object to the Reich's action in the form of a speech across the sea. It was another to give him the power to make these criticisms directly to the Führer, anytime they saw fit. It would elevate the Americans almost to a level of equals. As the German delegates argued amongst themselves as a German response, Bormann allowed himself to think on the merits of the proposal. In the end, Bormann made a decision, relating to his fellows, and instantly stopped all further debate over the subject. The German translator gave the Reich's official response to the American proposal. We can stall, we will agree to the hotline, we will succeed. Well, I mean, I don't see a reason to say no to this, to be quite honest. Is that it? That's literally all it takes, is that we have the red phone between Berlin and Washington? If that's all it takes, then sure, let's go. As he shook the hand of the president, Martin Bormann could not help but feel a slight amount of weight lifted off his already heavy shoulders. The Americans were willing to come to a deal, and the Reich would reap a great deal of benefits from it. Naturally, the Americans had not become friends overnight, but the Führer had no need for friends. Well, he had need for American missiles to be aimed at Tokyo rather than Germania. And that is what he's gotten. Any more was simply a blessing. The Führer, a rare smile playing on his face, returned to the delegation, who were gathering their supplies to leave the conference center. We had won a great victory for the Reich today, he informed them. Be proud of yourselves and for your country, for the fine work you've done today. They had not at all been particularly helpful, of course, but he was in too fine a mood to complain. He glanced around the room and his eyes met with that of the American president for a brief moment. He wondered what Hitler would have made of what happened here today. Would he have denounced Bormann's actions, condemned the prospect of ever allying with a nation full of Jews and capitalists? Would he have permitted the Reich to have been forged in blood and iron to work together with a corrupt country built upon liberalism and democracy? Bormann's thoughts were interrupted soon after. My Führer, it seemed Reich Minister Hewell wanted something of him. It is thanks to your wit and bold view for our nation that this feat had been accomplished. Hewell glanced back at the diplomats. In celebration, I suggest we stay for a round of the finest, sweetest vodka for returning to the Reich my treat. If you considered a man's proposal for some time, ultimately though he shook his head. Not today, Walter. There's still so much work to be done. Okay, tensions have gone down. We have lifted embargoes between us and the United States. Now, what is that for Cold War interface? Tension between us and Germany looking pretty good. -15. Now, between us and the Japanese... Well, who has the highest tension right now? 47.5. Okay, so Japan's basically not happy with anybody. But it is less than 50%. So things are cooler then they are hot. And that seems beneficial. Okay, so we got Vanguard in the west. We should talk to the Americans about Japan, for sure. Seems like, it seems like something we probably want to consider is to be, is to be friendly with, be friendly with the United States, counter Japanese, ambitions in Asia. Seems good. Seems good. And here we get a new special mission, so that could be fun. Vanguard of the West. Reformist loyalty goes up for the... I mean, it sucks, but there's really not much we can really do about that. Fear Martin Bormann sat down at his desk and stared at the map in front of him. It was a familiar sight. Given his status as rightful leader of the world, it was an old map, from before the Aryan race had asserted its global supremacy. Pins and holes marked with the magnificent Legion of the Axis that crushed their enemies so many times. So many sites of triumph over the Bolsheviks and the Jews. The gears in Bormann's head turned, an old map turned into an old memory, filling his mind. Beginnings of their alliance to conquer the world, a time of squalor and degeneracy then, yet a time of promise. First was the Italians to join the Axis, then the Japanese. Different races, of course, but they had a common enemy of the Bolsheviks. At least they knew who the real threat was. While the Reich triumphed over its enemies, how his heart filled with joy when he remembered the subjugation of Europe. The Japanese fought for their own enemies, crushing the communists in China, and asserting their own supremacy in this Asian continent. His eyes returned to the real world for a momentarily painful second, for finding a hole within the Pacific on a small island of Iwo Jima. Even those Americans could have their triumphs, he supposed. Reports spoke of how the sea was filled with blood and iron, a graveyard spanning the waves, and a complete rout of the Americans. It was not long after that the ultimate weapon of the Reich, the product of the world's greatest minds, was detonated in Pearl Harbor, and the war came to a close. When the war ended, the world belonged to the Axis. There was no more Bolsheviks to conquer, and so the triumph came to ruin the Axis. No more unifying enemy, no more reason to cooperate. The Axis lasted as long as the war, but the Reich endured longer and shall forever. Memory lane caught up to the modern day, and Bormann had disposed it into the real world, where Japan was no longer an ally. The pain of friends turned into enemies. Oh, we have a new operative. You speak Italian. You know what? That actually might be useful. We'll send you to Italy. Send you to Italy. We'll send you to Burgundy. Yeah, that sounds okay. But I think that at least for right now, it's going to be a good time for us to end off this episode. So if you enjoyed, thumbs up. Not doing a thumbs down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.